Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel Beth Chats Books. Now today's video is going to be my December wrap up. Now I'm sorry that this is coming out pretty late, it's now well into January, but I've been recently staying at my boyfriend's in Chelmsford for a couple of days. That's the first big break I've had since Christmas, and I just didn't have the facilities to film there and we were really busy those couple of days. So now that I've got home and I've got a day off, I'm just going to bulk film a lot of stuff, and my December wrap up is going to be one of them. So without further ado, let's just get straight stuck in. So I read 4 books this month. The only book that was on my December TBR but that I didn't get around to reading was Lolita, which I'm currently reading now, but that will be in my January TBR video and I will talk about that at a later date. It will not be on this. So everything else I managed to read, including one extra Audible audio book. So I'm just going to get into the books that I did read this month. So the first one of those is Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. Now I think I gave this about 4 stars. This I really anticipated was going to be one of my favourite dystopians because it's a world in which books are burnt, a dystopian world in which books and literature are burnt, and firefighters do not put out fires, they initiate fires, and I thought this whole world of banning literature would be really fascinating to me. Now I've given a couple of dystopians in the past year 5 stars, including Slaughterhouse 5 by Kurt Vonnegut and Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. I can never pronounce that correctly. But this one, the reason I didn't give it 5 stars is that it's a lot shorter than those other books. So the world is quite quick. Things within it that I missed or I didn't quite get the full experience out of. Now one of these is there's a young female character in this that at the beginning, the firefighter, Guy Montag, that's his name, it's been a while, he is convinced that he's doing the right thing being this firefighter, and then this young little girl comes along at the beginning of the novel, or novella as you want to call it because it is quite small, and she makes him see the world a little bit differently. She's quite kooky and she's reading secret books, and then quite early on, spoilers if anybody doesn't want to know, then just move over this bit now because this is going to be a spoiler. They kill her off, the government in this dystopian world kill her off because her family are still reading books and they're a danger to the discipline and the regime, which I found quite sad because I found her a fascinating character and I would have liked more of her. Then there's another character he meets later on who was an ex-professor who tries to help get him on this mission to secretly keep reading books and to try and fight the regime, and in the end he gets exiled and he lives with all the other people that are on the run because they're after him because of the fact that he has kept books in his property and his house has been burnt and his wife ends up leaving him. They just fake his death, they use somebody else because they can't find him. And I thought the story was really, really interesting, but it just lacked that same gusto and that same kind of gut-wrenching and intense world that the other dystopians I've read have. Maybe if I read this at a later date I would appreciate it more. Most of the dystopian that I read in this particular story as well stay with me long after I finish reading them. Dystopian has a way of kind of burning itself on the brain, and I have a bigger retention for dystopian memory than I do for other novels, so maybe this might change, but I think 4 stars is still fantastic. I think there's so many different and interesting things to talk about in here. The technology, it describes quite vividly in this book about this world where you switch on the TV and there's all and lights and sound and everything's quite intense experience, and the use of headphones and things like that. There's lots of really interesting themes in this, but I don't think I got the full intense experience I have with other dystopians, and that's why I only gave it 4 stars. So there's that one. And then the next book that I read in the month of December was Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca. Now I gave this 5 stars. I think this is absolutely amazing, fantastic. It was atmospheric. It's quite a hefty book, as you can see, but I devoured my way through this. It's atmospheric, it's intense, you don't kind of know what's going on. I've decided for these next 2 books, because I adored them so much and I've recently watched a film adaptation, that I'm going to do an individual book / film review of how I felt about the adaptations and go into a lot more detail, because this book really deserves a lot more detail and a lot more explanation of why I liked it and of the characters and bits that I really got into. So I'll just let you know on this that I gave it 5 stars, and keep your eyes peeled for the film / book review of this, which I'll be doing as soon as possible. So there's that one. And then the next one that I read kind of adjacent to the other one. I read them both at the same time, as it were, because it was an audiobook, the other one. But I'll go through this one. This is Jeffrey Eugenides' The Virgin Suicides. Now, I also gave this 5 stars, and I also want to do an in-depth book/film review of this as well. These are both really intense books with a lot of atmosphere. This one was just fantastic. I'd heard rave things about this on different podcasts that I'd mentioned, and I already knew the plot twists in this, but you could still get so much out of this. I'm really glad that I did not watch the film first, because this book is such an experience. I would recommend to so many people to read the book first before they watch the 1999 adaptation, which I did, that had Kristen Dunst in it, because this is just so interesting, and it gives a different tone, I think, than the film does. So I want to talk about this in a lot of depth and really kind of sink my teeth into that. So I want to give it the separate time and attention it needs. But this was also 5 stars, so I had a very good reading month. And then the last book, Audible, that I read, which I will just insert somewhere over here, was Ben Zeller's Heaven's Gate UFO Cult, or something along those lines. It's quite a big title. Now, this book I gave 4 stars to. The reason I didn't give it a full 5 stars is because it was very academic in tone. So in an Audible form it was 9.5 hours, but each chapter was written in an academic style with academic language, and when you have 20 minutes to 30 minutes to commute every day, but it's going in at rapid depth and you're only half listening because you're getting on and off the bus, or you're putting passwords in to get into your work, and all these different things, then you miss something and then you lose it, and it's quite hard on an audiobook to go back to the precise moment. It's a bit fidgety on the app, so I did understandably lose bits of Ben Zeller's amazing argument and perspective because I just couldn't fully concentrate in that form. And then if there was something I didn't quite understand in a book, you can kind of go back and read it aloud and get to grips with it, and I couldn't really do that. So I gave it 4 stars, but I'm hoping to buy it in physical copy and then to reread it and hopefully change my opinion of that. But it isn't a cheap book as such, because it's academic. It's about £15 to £20, so I might get it as a treat because I have read it. I don't think I need to be in any rush to read it, but because I was really interested in Heaven's Gate after listening to Glenn Washington's 10-part podcast on Apple Podcasts called Heaven's Gate, in which it recommended this as the staple text on the topic, and because I was fascinated from the podcast, I sought out this book to read because I wanted to know more about it. And it's very rich and informative, this book, with a lot of information about the cult. And I'll link all the information down below so that you can go and check that out if you want to, anything that I've mentioned on the podcast and things. And I just wanted to know what you guys think about non-fiction as audiobooks. Do you think it's harder to digest them in that capacity? Because I've never tried a novel on audiobook because I only just got it for Christmas from my boyfriend, so I'm going to see if I can try a novel on an audiobook and see how it differs or changes. But I did find it in the morning quite a lot to take in, and maybe that's because that book was overly academic, I don't know. But it'd be interesting for you guys to let me know whether you enjoy non-fiction on audiobook or whether you prefer it in physical form. But that's everything from my December wrap-up. It's quite brief and to the point, but I just wanted to get this video out there, let you guys know what I had been reading. So keep your eyes posted for The Virgin Suicides and Rebecca book and film review. I am also in the process of watching The Handmaid's Tale, so I can do the comparison that I did to the book review, which was a few months ago. So please don't think I've forgotten about that. I will be doing that, so all those will be coming out. But keep your eyes peeled because I am going to do my January TBR very, very soon. So hit the subscribe button so you can be alerted when all these videos come out if you're interested. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.